Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Italian tier 10 auto-reloading heavy tank, the Rhinocerante. Now the Rhinocerante is a tank that I actually enjoy quite a bit because I like the auto-reloading system, and since the buffs that this tank got, it's actually pretty damn decent. The only real thing that lets this tank down is its turret armour. And that's because the ammo racks are in the turret, and it gets penned in the turret cheeks quite reliably by most tier 10s that fire at least 270 plus pen, which is really quite sad for a heavy tank like this, and the fact that its ammo rack goes all the time as soon as it gets penned in the turret is also absolutely painful for something like this, which has, you know, not the best reload in the universe. I mean, a 10.2 second reload is pretty nice for 490 alpha at this tier, as opposed to what it used to have. It's also quite nice that we actually have something that reloads faster than PC, because the Rhinoceronte that we have reloads about 3 seconds faster than the PC version, which is quite nice for once to have that. But yeah, since the buffs, I have thoroughly enjoyed this tank. I do enjoy running around in it. You just have to have some discipline in knowing not to fire the clip wherever you get the chance. So as you can see with that Waffle Panzer IV, I could have quite easily double tapped him, triple tapped him, whatever. But I held my clip because I wanted to keep my DPM as good as it possible. I only really dump when I have the chance to reload, or when I really want to cripple something. Say there's a 4005 in the open that I think might disappear, or a Tyran, and I get the opportunity to drop the clip in before it disappears. It's been more likely the Tyran than a 4005. I can dump the clip in and cripple it, I will do that. And then I know that if I'm in a position where I can drop back and get the reload in, that's what I'll do. So as you can see, what we just did with that 277, by the way, is that I dropped 2 shells into him, so it was a one-shot for my friendly Object 705A that was in front of me. And that way, that tier 10 heavy tank can get gone from my game with the help of my 2 shots and my heavy tank with me. Stuff like that, that's where I really like the flexibility of the auto-reloaders. It's just a shame that they do cripple them so badly at times when they bring them in. I'll say at times, most of the time. But thankfully with the buffs that this tank has got, same as the tier 8 version, well, the tier 8 in this tech tree as well, it's just so much nicer to play, and I don't feel like I'm absolutely crippled purely because of my reload. They did nerf the accuracy as well, but I haven't really felt the downside of the accuracy too much. If you aim your shots, it pretty much still hits anyway. Yeah. So in terms of a crew on the Rhinocerante, I do run a pretty generic heavy tank crew for it, really, and that is Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanics, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Off-Road Driving. Off-Road Driving to help my ground resistances, help me get up to my top speed as much as humanly possible. The gun handling perks, because you do have 0.36 accuracy, and you want to try and help it be as accurate as humanly possible again, because again, the reload is something that you don't want to have impacted by the fact that you miss, pretty much. And yeah, all the other perks are generally what you take in tier 10 in a heavy tank. And in terms of equipment, I do run the rammer, vertical stabilizers, and vents. So that's the advanced loader, the improved ventilation, I think it's called, and a gun stabilizer. Vents, because I want to make the reload as good as possible, and everything about the tank generally as good as possible. Vert stabs to help with the accuracy on turning the turret and the hull. And the advanced loader, again, so that I can have my reload as good as humanly possible. So in this game so far on Muravanka, we're up to 3.2k damage, and this is where I'm on about knowing when and where you want to fire your clip. In this position here, I feel like I'm perfectly safe to reload at any point, and those Tyrans got spotted. Now, I did take a big hit from one of the Tyrans earlier on, and yeah, while they are lit, because they're one of those things, obviously, they're quite a ridiculous tank, and they're very hard to spot, so it's very rare that they do actually get lit up, and if you can dump your shells in to get rid of them, it's always a nice thing. So we got unspotted, and I make it look like I've run back to the middle, and what I'm doing is I'm going to go back to the position I was just in here, which is quite an unorthodox position, sorry, at D4. And I just pinged the map saying, hey, medium tank, if you can light up them Tyrans, I will be helping you, sir. I'm fully loaded. I am ready. There is one. We snapped the shot in, and I am ready, because the other one is a one-shot as well. I'm ready just to kill them. If they get spotted and I have the opportunity to shoot them and kill them, I am doing that. We do get spotted. I probably could have shot at the Tyran there, but it was a bit of a chancy shot, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to hold on and wait for my reload. We're trying to back up into position to shoot that Tyran and finish him off, but we start getting detected as we're pulling back, and I'm like, no, the other Tyran is going to kill me. I'm not doing that. So we pulled forward and got away. We're up to 4.2k damage so far, and I'm just going to now look at the guys in front of me. I do have to be careful of that Tyran that was behind us, but my team is winning the forest quite handily. So it's like, okay, you know what? We are going to try and get rid of the guys that are directly in front. This Tusk is over there, and we get a nice shot into him there. And I'm thinking, do I dump a shot in again into this Tusk before I'm reloaded? You know what? Screw it. Yeah, we're doing it. So we get a shot into the Tusk, and I was very, very tempted to just drive over and then dump the last shot into the M48A5, but I'm not really comfortable with getting rid of my whole reload there. And unfortunately, the M48A5 actually just drives up on top of the ridgeline and gives us a slap in the side, which is not handy, because that puts us down to a one-shot. And we do manage to get fully loaded yet again. And now we're fully loaded, I can again, just do some damage. The 4005 is spotted in front of us. The heavy tank is in front of us. The M48A5 shuts down the 704. So what we're going to do is going to try and poke over and shoot the 4005, but he gets shut down. But we do light up artillery. So we get a nice shot into the artillery, pull back, wait for our reload, because at this point I don't want to dump. I want to keep my DPM as high as it can be. And when I'm reloaded, I can hopefully shut down the Tusk, which I don't get the chance to do. But luckily, the Tyran gets spotted, so we shut him down. I was thinking, you know what, now is the time. And I was going to shut down that T57 Heavy, but he gets shut down. We do get the shot in to finish off the M53-55 because we were reloaded in time. We're fortunate that the M48A5 dumped his shot and missed. And we get to then in turn shut down the M40A5. We're very lucky to be alive there, to be fair, because that guy could have quite easily killed us, but hey-ho. Finished with 5 kills, 6.5k damage, 936 assistance. The ace tanker, the Pascucci's, the high caliber, the sniper medal, 1691 base XP. A really nice game for the Rhinocerante on Armour of Anchor there. And that was actually kind of the game that really sort of shows off how nice it is to be flexible with an auto-reloader. And you can decide where to sort of fire 2 shots, where to take hit points off people, and, you know, that sort of know-how of being in a position and knowing, you know what, if I do dump these 2 shots, I can just go and reload. I mean, the prime example was that 277 at the start, where I could have just kept firing at my best DPM. I could have done quite easily, but I knew that the 705A with me, if I fired 2 shots into that 277, he'd be a one-shot for the 705A. And I could quite easily just pull back into the little dip we were in and just reload the 2 shells anyway. I wasn't comfortable with shooting the 3rd shell because I didn't really want to go into that deep of a reload. And, yeah, well, at the end of the day, with him being tracked, I was going to get the assistance on him anyway. So, yeah. But that's the sort of flexibility that is nice with the auto-reloaders that you can get off with them. And yeah, like I say, with this tank, since they buffed the DPM, and I went through the buffs of the Rhinocerante in a previous video when they actually did them. It was a buff nerf realistically, but yeah, well, I went through them there, and I do like this tank after the changes. I say it doesn't feel like a chore. Beforehand, it did feel like a chore because the reload was just so long. And it just felt so horrible, whereas now it doesn't feel that long at all, really. So we're in this second game, and we are on this map, which is Vineyards. And we're on to 982 damage already, because we've got a nice snapshot into the M48 across the way, and then we just got a shot into the side of that AVRE. We have to be careful, because this AVRE can pen us if we're not careful. He fires, we get another shot into that guy's side. We do have to get rid of that guy if we can, because he will just yeet us, delete us, and we don't want that. But we're just sticking with our fastest reload if we can, because I don't want to dump too soon. Because it's the type of the position we're in at A6 at the minute is the type of position where tanks from their side can just quite easily YOLO into where we are. So it's something we do have to be careful of. But their team is being a bit passive at the minute. We managed to pull over, get a nice shot into the lower plate of the IS-4, and uno perfecto. That guy didn't actually get a shot into us, although I really thought he would have done. We tried to snap the shot into the drive wheel of the IS-4, but unfortunately he managed to just pull back in time to not take the shell into his drive wheel. And yeah, we are just being as careful as humanly possible. The AVRE fires, and their 2 heavy tanks are pulled right down on the ridgeline. I think, you know what, there's 4 of us here, screw it, we're getting going. We get a nice shot into the lower plate of the IS-4 there. The SDRVK bounces on us. And at this point, I'm thinking, oh, God, if this AVRE decides to drive around, though, it's not going to be a good time. We get another shot into the lower plate. We're slowly whittling down this IS-4, slowly but surely, getting rid of his hit points without taking any shots into retaliation. The Centurion 7-1 gets spotted finally at the bottom as well. We get another shot into the IS-4, who we are rolling not that high on this guy, so he must have something like armor angling or something like that. And he's now in the realm of being a one-shot, but we do get a shot in to shut down the AVRE, and I think, oh, you know what, possibly I could shut down the IS-4 there, and I'll be able to get the kill, but he gets killed before we even get the intraclip reload in. And the T-54E1 just drives out in front of our gun, so it's like, well, why not, sir? He gets retracked, and I think, you know what, I could probably reload at this point. So we get a second shot into the T-54E1, which puts him down to a one-shot, and I think, you know what, screw it, I'm going for the kill. We're going deep in the reload, and again, from this position here, because we have the numbers, I feel safe in the fact that I can reload. It does take a long time to get the whole clip in, because naturally the deeper in the clip you go, the longer the reload. That's just the way auto-reloaders work. But you should try and think of yourself with an auto-reloader as a single-shot tank. You should try and keep firing single-shot until it's your advantage to fire more than one shot. Like that T-54E1, I just decided, you know what, I'm getting rid of that autoloader out of the game, because that guy's pretty deadly if he gets going. Screw it, he's tracked in the open, let's just get that gun out of the game. So as you can see, we are nearly loaded. Just boost our reload again with food, just to make sure that we're getting the best that we can. And we end up spotting this badger as we crest over. Really awkward moment there, because we can't quite get the gun depression, but I figure that I'm going to get enough chance to get a shot into him, which we do, straight through his lower plate, 524. Nice roll. The Super Conqueror ends up penning him, and we're just waiting for our reload to slam another shot through the lower plate of this badger, and unfortunately we ricochet. Sad times. We end up ricocheting on that guy. The Centurion 7-1s come over into an awkward position where he can start getting side shots. The SDRVK's pulled over in that side too. And I really thought he'd pulled over too far there, the SDRVK. Unfortunately, the shell ended up being aimed at his drive wheel, but ricocheted off his turret, and we didn't quite get to shut it down. We're going to pull back around the corner, see if we can get a shot at the badger. We end up spotting him up there. Just trying to see with the third-person camera to see if, well, where he was positioned. Unfortunately, we ricochet again because we didn't quite hit his lower plate. We ended up hitting the upper plate. And the SDRVK starts to think to come over, but the Super Conqueror shuts him down. Good times. At the minute, the game is not looking good, but we're kind of stuck because a badger is staring at us, and a badger looking at you is not a good time. We actually bounced him off our turret, which is a miracle, if I'm totally honest. I think he's firing standard there, that's why. And he finally pens the turret straight through there, which is what happens. We didn't pen him, though. We ended up bouncing. And what I actually thought was, I fired the second shell because I thought I can finish it off if I pen all three. But unfortunately, we didn't end up penning all three. And we only have the amount of rounds left. We only have one shell left of the APCR. We managed to shut down the badger, though. Something misses us, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to push across to this little ridge over here because I want to stay safe at this little ridge over here. If whatever I find over it is fine, and from their base I can start shooting across at the guys that cross into our base. But just as we're getting over here and we're reloading the full clip of heat, it's like, oh god, that's a T110E4. What is that doing here? What's he been doing in the base all game? Oh, good gravy. This is not a good time because we are still waiting on this reload. 9 seconds left to get this shell into the clip, and then we can go in. And even then, it's still going to be awkward because he hits us very, very hard. And he's still full health. He fires, though, so we take the chance. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go in. We get a shot with the heat straight through his lower plate. And we pull back because I don't want to fire. I can clip this guy in 3 shots now, so that's what we're going to have to do. He fires again at I think the Super Conqueror behind us. Now we're loaded. We can kill this guy in 3 shots. So we get 1 into his lower plate. And it's like, okay, you know what? Screw it. This guy's going. We get 2 into his lower plate. Low rolls. Low rolls, low rolls, low rolls. He ends up hitting the dirt again. We take a shell in the back, and I'm like, okay, we're going to die if we stay here. Can't stay here. I've got to chance it. We go in, wait for the reload for as long as humanly possible, get the shot in. That saves us, because we damage his ammo rack, which resets his reload, and then we detonate it with the last shell in the clip. I had to go into the E4 because I was getting shot in the back, which meant that I had to wait for that second shell to be able to kill him, and we got really lucky there that shot ended up damaging his ammo rack, which meant that he didn't quite have the reload to kill us because it reset his reload a little bit, and we managed to finish him off with that shell. Now we are in a position now where realistically, looking at this, we've lost. Look how healthy that AVR is. Look how healthy generally their team is going to be when they come along. So I'm just waiting for this clip to see how much damage I'm getting. And I'm thinking, oh, I'll back out. I can't back out. The dead turret of the E4 is blocking me. Unfortunately, we've only got heat left, which I haven't adjusted for in the shell velocity, which means the first one missed. The second one is annoying heat, where it hits the track. If I was throwing APCR there, I would have penned and tracked him. But because it's heat, I can't pen it, and I just end up getting it absorbed. The other shell ricochets off his upper plate, and unfortunately, I'm trapped because of the dead turret of the E4. And you know what? The T95 E6 rams me, gives me an extra 300 damage in ramming or 200 damage in ramming. I'll take it. And unfortunately, with such a high damage score, 8.5k damage, we finish on a loss. And we've got the first class, the sniper, the high caliber, 908 base XP on a loss, 8.5k damage. Decent defeat right there. It's just a shame that we couldn't see that game out to win. And it's a shame that final clip just whiffed, because that could have been near 10k with that final clip. But heat problems. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.